Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome for the first time. We're just about to start session 3 of our event today on creative lesson planning. So, I'm Melissa Thompson, and I'll be your host today. I'm joined today with Dina El Sebai. I think she's here waiting. So, Dina, if you hear this, you can turn on your camera and join me now. Hi, Dina.
Hi
How are you?
everyone. I'm good. I'm good. How are you, Melissa?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. So
Great.
I'm joining from Spain. I'm originally from the UK. Dina, how about you? Where are you joining from?
Well, I'm Egyptian, and I work here in Vietnam. So yeah, greetings from Hanoi.
Great. Oh, what a beautiful place. And we're also joined by Halla Khan. Halla, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Melissa? How are
Yeah,
you, Dina?
Hi, Hala.
yeah, we're great. We're great. So we've just started. So hello to our audience. Let us know where you are joining us from. There's people from all over in the chat, which is fantastic. Um, this session is session 3 of our webinars today, and it's called Teachers Share: How to Plan Creative Lessons. So we've invited our expert teachers here today, Dina and Hala, to talk about their kind of extra special lessons which involve creativity, and they've got lots of ideas from their classrooms, and I think you'll have a great time with them. So I think we're going to start today with Dina, because Dina's already set up and ready to go. If that's okay with you, Hala.
Yeah, sure.
Great. So,
Perfect.
Hala, you can turn off your camera for now, but please come back, of course, later.
Sure.
And I'll introduce everyone to Dina. So, this is Dina El Sabai. As she said, she's an Egyptian teacher working in Vietnam. She's currently teaching teenagers and young learners, and prior to that, she was a professional skills trainer. So, Dina will show activities to promote critical and creative thinking in teens. And I think everyone, you're going to really like these. So, Dina, over to you. I'll be here if you need me, if you need to ask
All right.
anything. You can start your presentation when you're ready.
Perfect. Hi everyone. I hope the screen is clear now. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
looks
right.
great. We can see it.
Perfect. All right. Great to see you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session today. I will start with a session on promoting creative and critical thinking in teen classes. So, the agenda for today is really simple. We'll talk a bit about why it is important to promote these two skills. We're going to speak a bit about the challenges that we face, and then I'm going to share with you 3 simple activities that you can adapt easily in your classrooms. So these 3 activities are called Think in Box, 4 Dots, and Show My Colors. So to start first, let's think about promoting teens' creative and critical thinking skills. So why do you think it's important to do that? If you can share your answers in the chat, it will be great. Maybe let us know if this is something that you actually do. Try to promote these 2 skills in your teen classrooms. Very good. Thank you for your answers. Yes. To foster innovation, to support them, help them initiate, to give their opinions. Very good. It supports with debate skills. Great answers. Thank you, everyone. All right. So, yeah, basically, in teen classrooms, it is important to foster teens' curiosity. This is the age where they want to learn more about the world. They don't really have the chance to do this in the classrooms. So, it would be great if we can work on that and encourage their curiosity. Also, we can do that while we try to help them realize their individuality instead of them being copies and just imitating others. It would really nice to help them embrace their individuality. But in order to do that, of course, we need a safe environment. So they need to know that this is a space where they can express their opinions, they can be heard, everyone is included. So it is really important to consider the type of learning environment that we provide them. It's important also to consider the trial and error. So this is a space where it is very okay to make mistakes because they actually learn from their errors. So there's no right or wrong because it's a learning process. So actually trying and making errors is encouraged in this kind of environment. In addition, we need to teach them to trust the process. These days, everything is quick, they get bored so easily, but it is important to teach them that in order to develop their creative and critical thinking skills, it takes time. And they need to trust that the process might take time, but it will help them on the longer term. So it is really important to share the objectives with them, to actually make them aware of why it is important for them to develop these two skills and how it can be beneficial for them when they join university or when they join the workforce afterwards. Next, I would like to differentiate between creative and critical thinking, but I would love your help here, please. So, when we talk about creative thinking, we think of initiating and generating ideas. But what do you think? What is critical thinking? Can you guess these two actions? Okay. Analyzing, yes. They start with A, so yes, analyzing is one of them. Well done. Yes. Very good. Very good. Analyzing and assessing. Thank you for your answers. So, yes, while creative thinking focuses on initiating and generating ideas, critical thinking focuses more on analyzing and assessing the information that they have. The next point is when we think of creative thinking, we think of designing, creating. Perhaps you can help me with the third activity here. So, what could be number 3? Starts with an I. Yes, very good. Very good. Innovation, yes. So, to invent and innovate, yes. While critical thinking focuses more on helping them learn how to solve problems and how to make decisions. Very good, very good. Yes. Thank you for supporting me on this. Yes. So, yeah, creative thinking is all about designing, innovating, inventing, and creating, but then critical thinking is more into solving problems and making decisions. Now, the last point, for creative thinking, they rely more on their intuition. And for creating critical thinking, they rely more on their logic. So can you guess what does this make intuition and logic? If we rely on our intuition, this means that our ideas can be more. Yes, very well. Yes, subjective. Yeah. So, of course, following intuition, because it differs from one person to another, creativity is very unique. So it can be subjective. Meanwhile, critical thinking follows logic. So, of course, it makes their decisions or their ideas more objective. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so let's check. Can you guess here these two activities? So which one is critical thinking and which one shows creative thinking? Yes, perfect. Thank you. So as you mentioned, the first one actually shows what a creative thinking activity can be like. So it's about designing. their ideal modern school. However, in the second one, they have the design already, but they need to assess it. So this is why it is a critical thinking activity. Now, 3 more activities for you. Can you take a look at them and decide whether they are following creative or critical thinking? Which skills are being promoted here? Yeah. Perfect. Thank you for your answers. Yeah. Yes, good. So the first one here, we need to think of the pros and cons of streaming live videos. So of course, this is following critical thinking because they need to think of the information and then assess it. In number 4, they design an eco-friendly roadmap. So it is a creative task. The last one, they need to think of being a principal, and then they need to think of the decisions that the principal already make and think of 3 new, right? So yes, as you said, it follows both. It follows critical and creative thinking because we're asking them to imagine themselves being in that situation, but at the same time, they need to think of the existing decisions, evaluate them, and think of new ones that they would love to add. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Would you like to try with your students any of these activities? If you would do that, which one would you follow? Number 5. Okay. Yeah, it's fun. Number 3. Okay, perfect. Great. Yeah, maybe one day you can try it with your students. They are really fun. Like I tried all these activities, all these tasks, and they were very engaging. Okay, now let's take a look at the challenges that we might face in our teen classrooms. I'm going to divide this part into 2 parts. So the first one is about teen issues, so issues related to teens themselves. And these ones start with draining schedules, which basically means that they are cognitively tired. There is fatigue here. So when they show up to class, they don't really have a lot of energy. They have a lot of work to do, a lot of homework, a lot of extra classes to attend. This is the case here in Vietnam, and it was the case in Egypt as well. I'm not sure if it's the case in your country, but yeah, unfortunately, this is something that happens, and we really need to put in consideration so we can help them in the classes. The second point is sometimes they are not really used to express themselves. They have confidence issues because they are not trained on how to have a process of expressing themselves and feeling confident to share perhaps different opinions. So again, this takes us back to the point where you need to show them that it's a safe environment. They can learn to express themselves and it can help them. The last point is a phrase that I got from my students, actually. It's brain rot. So they love using this phrase a lot. Do you know what brain rot is? Have you heard it from your teen students? Yeah. I know. I'm sure we've all been through that. So unfortunately, nowadays they have access to social media. They watch a lot of videos that encourage passive participation, where it's useless really, but they spend hours and they drain their energy watching them. So these are a lot of issues that I find that I face in the classes with my teens. And this is why I always have to consider it when I plan my lessons. So what about you? Do you have the similar issues or perhaps different ones? Maybe you can share some. It is mental dullness, brain rot, yeah, for sure. It's true, they get easily bored because everything now is so fast. Carelessness, that's true. But again, this is a result of having draining schedules, perhaps. They feel shy. Sometimes they don't work in pairs. That's true. I face the same problem. But then again, this has to do with confidence, and this is something that we can build with them. We can help them develop this in the class. Chatty students, on the other hand, yes, that's true. Maybe we can use these students to help the others in a way. Okay, perfect. Now, as much as we have, of course, issues related to teens, we have issues related to the classroom and the environment itself. So our biggest enemy is always time management. When we talk about creative and critical thinking, these are tasks or activities that take time. And we can't really rush it. So we can't really force them to finish it in a certain time. They need to take their pace because their thought process is different from one person to another. So it is not something that we can rush, but it's something that we can plan. So we need to put this in our consideration when we plan our lessons. The second point is a chaotic learning environment. Sometimes some teachers are concerned about how it looks when the learning environment is really chaotic, right? But again, chaotic learning environment, it means one thing. It means that they trust you and they feel safe in your environment, which is something that we should really encourage. Yes, of course, we should put class principles that they should follow. However, it's really important for them to feel that the environment, even though it can be chaotic, it can be an effective one where they are actually working. The third problem that I face is using their L1. So, of course, this can be very confusing sometimes because sometimes they don't really know the words in English. They find it really challenging. And if we are focusing on promoting their creative and critical thinking skills, then we shouldn't really push all the skills at once. So yes, language is important, but if they need to find words that make it easier for them to communicate, it's fine. However, English is, of course, our main target here. So it's really important to teach them how to use the right phrases and how to use the language that can help them communicate together while doing any task. So this is something that we can consider. What about you? Do you have any other challenges, perhaps, in your classrooms? Yes. Large classrooms can be an issue because this means that you need to plan the groups really well. You need to be able to monitor them. You need to make sure that everyone is on task. Hyperactive students, believe it or not, they can be really useful when it comes to creative skills, critical thinking, because they have a lot to add here. So once we know how to manage these students, they can actually help us a lot in the activities. Going off topic is another problem that might happen. And this is why making sure that you monitor the classes, monitor the groups, making sure that you set the target and the criteria is really important. And we'll get into this, of course. Thank you all for sharing the ideas here. Okay, so let me just move to some of the activities that I use with my students. These are, again, very simple activities. They can be adapted to different classes. So let's go through them and see what you think. So the first one I would love to share is something called the thinking box. This is a super simple activity that I've been using for 5 years now. It's a simple activity where you basically stimulate their cognitive skills. So you want to also develop their ability to express their views on different topics. So the process here is really simple. The procedure is you just show a box on the screen, or you get them an actual box in the classroom, and you add a lot of questions, and you just pick up one question every class. Now, these questions, of course, are questions that are aimed at developing their creative and critical thinking skills. This activity is simple. The idea here is that you develop their individual thinking time, because they don't work in pairs, they don't work in groups. They have to sit and think about the topic before they can share their ideas. It takes really low planning time from your side. You don't really have to spend a lot of time here, and it's really adaptable to different levels, different ages, and whether it's online or face-to-face. So you can use it as a warmer or a filler, but let me show you the questions that I use in the class. So what would happen if food was for free, for example? Should cars fly, or better stay on the road? Yeah, superpower for your mom. And if boys and girls switch roles and speaking different languages or sticking to one. So as you can see here, these are just simple ideas. They don't take a lot of time, but it really helped them think. And this is the main idea here. They sit, they think, and then they share their opinions where there's no right or wrong answer. They just need to have the confidence to express their views. So yeah, these are just simple ideas. Perhaps you can add more. Sometimes I ask the students to add questions themselves, so they would have more agency. And of course, it promotes learner autonomy. So they can do it, but of course, you need to do it first to model what kind of questions we're looking for. And yes, it promotes curiosity, of course. Okay. The second idea is 4 dots. So this idea here, again, stimulates their thinking, but higher order thinking skills. So they mainly focus on analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing their ideas. And this one, it helps them have a comprehensive thinking approach as well. So it's more about a strategy, learning how to strategize their thinking. It's very simple. Again, you give them an idea, a topic, and they have to think of 4 different aspects. It's intriguing, it's interactive, it's really adaptable, again, and simple, seriously, for a teacher. It doesn't require a lot of planning, which is perfect. Okay, but for this one, it's about production, because this is where you ask them to speak or write using the target language, of course. So let me show you. This is an example. This is very recent news from Australia. So they decided to ban social media apps for users under 16. And the simple question is, to what extent do you agree or disagree? Something that they have in their IELTS practice or in random classes in general English as well. But the idea here is to think of their own personal opinion. And once they write their personal opinion, they have to think of the opposing opinion as well. Then they have to think of a question or a set of questions that they are intrigued to ask about the topic, so they can understand more. And then they can write a remark or a couple of remarks that they have heard about the topic, that they might think people would say about this topic. And the idea here, we call it 4 dots because they have to connect all of them before they synthesize and write or speak. So again, in this one, they need to learn how to have different perspectives, how to ask the right questions, and how to think of how different people's remarks can add to their thought process. So this way, once they connect all these points together, they can have a comprehensive idea about how they can say whether they agree or disagree. We need to teach them that it's not just a simple task to say, I agree or disagree. It takes time, and they need to, again, stimulate here their higher order skills. So again, as you can see, this is an activity that can be simple. You bring the topic, you write it down, and then you have to train them on how to think of opposing ideas, their own personal opinion, the questions and the remarks. It takes time. This is why we said trust the process. It takes some training, but once they get used to it, trust me, you will see a whole different type of conversations and communication that they have. It's impressive, really. Well, the last idea that I have here is show my colors. So this one is about practicing and producing reactive sentences. It's all about creativity here. So it's really simple as well. You give them a sentence and you ask them to continue the sentence, but using one of the sentiments or one of the emotions that they can find in the boxes. So it's fun, it's engaging, and then you don't really require a lot of resources, so you can do it online or face to face. You can use it, of course, as a warmer or a filler. Now, this is an example here. So I was walking into the school and noticed that everyone was wearing blue. I looked around and realized that. Now, you ask each student to choose a color. So if they choose blue, for example, they have to complete the sentence with danger. If they choose purple, it shows joy, mystery, regret, hope, sorrow. You can add as many as you want, really, and you can, of course, choose the colors that you want. But the idea is they have agency, they choose the color, but once they choose the color, they have to think creatively about how they can complete the sentence. This is one example. Let me show you another example. So my friends and I were playing a game when we heard a squeak. It was, and then you leave it up to them to imagine and complete the sentence. Again, as you can see, you can do it online. You can ask them to just write in the chat box their answer. So it can be a really good one. So yeah, these are my 3 different activities. Perhaps you can tell me which one you like more, which one you would love to try in your classrooms. It would be great, of course, to hear your feedback. So yeah, hopefully you can see. Yeah, all right.
I think I'd try all of them. Definitely, that's my answer,
Thank you,
Dina.
Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And yeah, please keep in touch. This is my email if you would like to keep in touch about teen classes. This is my interest. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks everyone for so much participation, and of course, thanks Dina.
Thank
We're going to move on now to our second presenter, Halla. So Dina, come back soon, of course. You can answer all the questions that people are leaving. But now I'll introduce Halla. Halla, how are you?
I'm fine, Melissa. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really great. I'm enjoying the session a lot. I'll tell the
Yeah,
audience
me
a little
too.
bit.
That was awesome.
Me, yeah, I loved it. So this is Halla Khan, everyone. She's from Pakistan and she's an English language lecturer at the moment and also pursuing a master's degree. So she's looking at the intersection of language and AI, artificial intelligence, and she's got a really great idea, which is about teaching metaphor with AI. This is something that I've never thought about before I met you, Halla. I love it.
Thank you.
Um, Halla, are you ready to start?
Yeah, I'm ready. So can I share my
Great.
screen now?
Yeah, let's go
Okay,
ahead.
let me know when my slides are visible to everyone.
I will too.
Uh, sure.
All right, we can see them. Great, looks
Is this fine
fantastic.
now?
Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, Hala, I'll be here if you need me, but if not, I'll come back at the end and we'll get time for questions. So everyone, have a great time with this lovely idea from Hala Khan.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, from wherever you're watching. My name is Hala, and today I will be talking about exploring metaphor through AI, mapping meaning creatively. So, as teachers, we always think of the ideas, how to teach the abstract ideas to our students, how to make them more approachable, more tangible for our students. So what I believe that with AI, we can make this process much easier and much enjoyable for our students. So let's have a look and let's see how we can use AI to teach metaphors. So I encourage all of you to participate and to reflect and think how you can incorporate these ideas in your classroom, maybe next week or whenever you feel like. So let's dive into our presentation. So let me run through the plan for today. First, we will be dealing with metaphorical mapping and why it is important to teach metaphorical mapping instead of just going for the metaphors, especially with our learners in creative classes. And we will have a very practical activity called metaphor matchup with AI. And then we will have a quick share where you will give me your favorite metaphor and we will see each other's responses. So go to your charts and tell me, like, if AI could turn your mood into a metaphor, what would it be? Like, my mood today is a slow sunrise. Let's see some of the comments. Lazy, okay. My mood would be funny, okay. Vibrant, autumn. My mood is cloudy today. Great responses. All of them are really thoughtful. Vibrant, sunny, full of energy, slow sloth. So if you notice from the comments, we can see we are already mapping two ideas together without even thinking of metaphorical mapping. So with all these responses, let's dive into our presentation today. So what is a metaphor? So metaphor is the expression, what we say, like my heart is an open book, but the cognitive process behind it, that how one idea help us to understand another idea, is called metaphorical mapping. And metaphorical mapping help us to visualize the connection between two ideas. The target is always the abstract idea, and the source is the concrete idea that we take help from to understand our target concept. Metaphor on the surface is just the language or the imagery that it creates, while metaphorical mapping, it focuses on the meaning making process that happens in our mind or in the minds of the student. So it is the visible structure, metaphor, and metaphorical mapping is the cognitive process that happens in our mind that help us to connect two very different ideas. So we need to tell our students that metaphor is not just the comparison. It's the two ideas getting connected with our emotions or with our feelings. And students, most of the time, they rely on one concrete meaning for the metaphors. So this need to be changed. Instead of that, what we can help them with is to allow them to have the connection or the shared qualities between the target concept or the source concept, or whatever the two ideas they are dealing with. So you can have the illustration. So time, we have the target concept that we need to understand, and source is the idea that we are going to use to understand the target concept. So we have this very famous metaphor that time is money. Okay, so before moving on to our very practical activity, I want your comments and your ideas, like in one word, describe how you feel about using AI as a teaching partner. But remember, before using this AI, we need to ensure the safety of our learners. And we need to make sure that they shouldn't give any personal data or any personal information to any AI model that they are using. And like children ages 13 to 18, they must obtain the parental consent before using this. So let's move to our comments and see. Lifesaver, important, creative, scary. Okay. Helpful, disappointing, facilitator. Okay, you don't use, Mariam, you don't use AI. Okay. Unethical, clueless. Okay. My full-time helper, that's great. Okay. Instructor, facilitator. Interesting, helpful. Okay. Equipped, very good. It's very thoughtful. Great. Time saver. Samreen is saying it's time saver. It is, it is. Okay, misleading. Okay, that's also good. Careful. Yeah, we need to be very careful. Impactful. Okay, okay. So let's see that we have a diverse experience with AI. So we can have a number of ways in which we experience AI as a teaching partner. So let's move that how AI has helped me particularly in creating a very practical activity for teaching metaphors. So the activity is called Metaphor Match Up with AI, and the target age is 14 to 15, and I mostly use it in my poetry or creative language classes. So the purpose is to make the student understand that metaphors are not just a surface level linguistic or syntactic structures. Rather, they are the two ideas getting together with the shared qualities, like we talked in time is money. So we map the meaning and map the connection between the target concept and the source concept. And this is done through shared meaning. And how AI is used, so you just need to make a structure for this activity by generating a metaphorical mapping sheet, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. So you need to have 3 columns, one for the target and target concept, and one for the source concept, and you need to leave the shade quality space or column blank so that student can bring their own interpretation. As I have mentioned before, that AI is just used to give structure to this activity, to save our time, to make this very easy for us as a teachers, because we have always the issue of time management. So this activity is only structured with the AI. The creativity comes always from the human or from your learner or from your student. So let's have a look at the activity that can be. So I have just given a suggested prompt that prepare a 3-column a sheet for my students to help them understand metaphorical mapping. So this is the activity sheet. You can list the target concept on one side and then the source concept and then on the student interpretation. So you can also change the difficulty level for your mixed ability class for your students having, because most of the time we have mixed ability students. So we are not having students of the same learning capacity or the same time span they're going to use for one particular activity. So what you can do, you can mismatch or you can fill whatever you feel like. Maybe you can leave the source concept column empty, or you can leave the target concept column empty. But make sure to leave the student's interpretation of the shared qualities empty so that they can bring out their interpretations. So this is the possible interpretations. Actually, my student bring them for me, and they completed this worksheet. So one of them said that life and journey has a beginning and an end and full of challenges and milestone. And for light is hope is light. So it guides us in the dark time and make us feel safe and positive. And then mind and ocean, deep, full of thoughts, sometimes calm and sometimes stormy. And heart, it shows feeling and can be read or understood. So how you will be, if I have to give you life as a target concept and journey as a source concept, how will you have the shared qualities between them? Can we have some shared qualities between life and journey, or between hope and light, or between mind and ocean? Patience, that's a good one. A rotation, yeah. Honesty, life is a struggle from less. Okay. Experience, calm, both are process, hard work. Okay. Challenges, experiences, great. Satisfaction, yeah. So each one of you is bringing your own interpretation and connecting the two concepts in our metaphors. Hope is light at the end of it, and life is full of journeys. Zainab, it's very thoughtful. Turmoil, determination, love, helpful. Okay, great responses. Friendship, amazing responses. So we have very thoughtful and very rich interpretations of the shared qualities between our target concept and source concepts. So let's move how we are going to. So the follow-up activity or the creative connection that you can make your students to have even when they go back home. So ask them to apply the metaphors they have analyzed in one of the creative pieces, maybe a short poem or a dialogue or anything that they want to bring. But make sure that they use these metaphors in their creative pieces, not in a prose form. Because if, or you can convince them to write a short poem maybe, because in that way they will be not only using metaphors, but also using it in the rhythmic pattern. And it will bring out the richness of metaphors even more. And ask them to share their work with the partner and discuss how their metaphors convey meaning or emotion. You can make them work in pairs. In that way, they will have a more nuanced, more diverse interpretation, or they can work alone if they feel like. So tell me in the chats, would you try this metaphor matchup activity in your own class? Will that be feasible for you guys? Absolutely. Yes, certainly. Great. Yes, looks fun. Yes, it's very easy to do. And its complexity level can be changed as per the requirement or as per the availability of equipment that you have. Yes, from time to time. Yes. If you teach young learners, it's totally fine, because you can bring the visual imageries for them and ask them to connect the two ideas. It's better with the older students, but you can adjust its complexity, and you can bring the visual for them, for the target concept and for the source concept. Okay. So I think most of you will be using this. Great.
Yeah, seems like a popular activity, Halla, definitely.
Okay. For a quick share, just write your favorite metaphor that describe your teaching style. And can you identify the target and the source concept? And just tell me briefly in the chat before winding up this session. Mind and ocean. Okay. Yes, teaching is like that. Free like a butterfly to the moon and back. Yes, that's good. Storm in a cup of tea. Great. So I have a very wonderful responses from all of you and very thoughtful ones. So what's the one idea about your teaching metaphors that you are going to take away today? So what's one idea that you're going to use today from this activity particularly, or you're going to use it as a whole in your class? Yes, metaphor mapping. Yes, these columns can help you make your student understand even the most abstract concepts when they will connect the two ideas. Yes, metaphor mapping you should use. Okay, that's it from my side. I hope you have a very wonderful weekend ahead. But I have my working day tomorrow, so I won't be having any weekend until Sunday. So you can find me on LinkedIn if you wish.
Great. Thank you so much, Hala. You can click stop on the slide share, and then we'll invite Dina to turn on her camera as well. So let's go to questions soon. So if anyone has a question for either of our presenters, we'd be really happy to answer them. We've got about 7 or 8 minutes with them, so I definitely think we can get quite a few questions in. I had a great time with both activities. So let's take a look and see what we have. There's someone asked in the chat for Hala, have you had any challenges when teaching metaphors in the English class? Has it been difficult for students to get these ideas?
Yes, because when I first start teaching metaphors, even to the like 13, 14, 15-ish aged students, so they always wanted to have one clear cut meaning for a single metaphor, and then they want to
Right.
compare the two ideas as if it is
Mm-hmm.
a sort of comparison they're going to build between the two ideas. But then slowly I make them understand it's not about having a comparison between two ideas. Rather, you need to map the shared qualities to analyze, actually to visualize the meaning making process between them. So you need to make your student realize that there is no one concrete meaning to the metaphor. It is open to multiple interpretation if they rely
Yeah.
on the shared qualities between the concepts.
Yeah, I can see that happening. But that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to try to help our teenage students kind of widen their perspective, be more
Yes.
creative. I tried this activity after I learned it from you, and I really liked asking the AI for some answers because it had
Yes.
ideas about the metaphors
Yes,
that I had never thought of before.
Yes.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go to a question for Dina, and it's from Mewish. And Mewish asks, could we use any of your activities for primary learners? Um, yeah, which of them
Yeah.
could Mewish use in a primary classroom? Any ideas, Dina?
Well, I think some of the ideas here can be adapted in the primary
Yeah.
classroom. We just need to consider classroom management. We need to consider
Mm,
grading the language and the instructions, of course.
mhm.
So for Show My Colors, it's fun. Kids can do it. It can be a lovely idea for primary students, even if they can't say it or they can't write it, they can draw
Mhm.
something related to the idea. So they
Yeah,
sometimes love to express themselves in drawing by drawing instead of speaking. So this should be fine.
yeah,
Yeah, and for the first one, for the thinking box as well, you can ask them simple questions and it can really
yeah.
work in primary classes.
Yeah, I can definitely see thinking box in a primary class.
Yeah.
Maybe my students wouldn't know all the words that they need to ask the question, but that's okay. I can
Yeah.
help them translate them. We can help them put their questions into English.
Yeah, we can give
Yeah.
them simple questions like, if you are a fruit today, which one would you be and why? It can just be something fun. And for
Yeah.
primary students, they would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really great. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that working for sure. Let's go to another question for Hala, and it's about someone who I think maybe doesn't have AI in the classroom, or not, maybe they don't want to use AI. Let me find it. I'm not sure where it's gone. But that person asked, her name was Aisling. Aisling asked, can we do this activity without AI if we don't have access?
Of
Or,
course, you can.
yeah.
Of course, you can do it without AI, but you will be the one putting more effort into it, because I want you
Mm,
to have analyze the target concept and the source concept prior to bringing it to the class, so that in the
mm-hmm,
class you need to spend more time, you can have more time on modeling the example sentences instead of
mm-hmm,
sorting out the concepts like target concept and the source concept. So AI is to give structure and to
mm-hmm.
easier things for the for the teachers, especially when it comes to the time management. So you can completely
Mm-hmm.
do it on your own, just sort out the target concept and the source concept and give the blank column of shade qualities to your students. It's completely fine.
Yeah, okay. I hope that helps the people watching who don't have access. But I do like your point about AI being an assistant and
Yes, it
helping,
is an assistant.
time
Yes.
saving. Yeah,
Yes.
that's great. Even a teacher wrote in the chat that AI is their full-time helper in the classroom.
Yes.
I like that comment a lot. Um, let's go to another question for Tina. I saw a question about four dots, and it's from CT. CT asks, would you use four dots with something like Padlet, so an online blog where people write their ideas, or do they write it out? Um, yeah, what are your kind of ideas for how different modes of using four dots if you've done it
Well,
with
honestly,
different?
I'm all into technology, but I would rather have them write it themselves.
Yeah.
There is kind of beauty of students using their hands to write their creative thoughts.
Yeah.
It is something that we connect with, you know. Yes, we can use technology, but this is what they do all the time, right? So we're trying to
Mm.
take them a little bit out of this zone and give them a space that is kind of different to what they normally do. So they can
Mm-hmm.
write with their hands, but then they are not writing homework. They are not writing serious, points. They are writing something to reflect on what they are thinking on. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Someone also asked in the chat why the name Four Dots, but I guess it's because they write in four different areas, right?
And then they connect them all together. So it's
Yeah.
like connect the dots or join the dots, but then we have four different aspects. So yeah, that's the name. But if
Yeah,
you
I
can
like the
think of
idea.
another creative name, please go for it.
Yeah, send it in. No, I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah.
I like giving names to activities so that when you use them again, you say, okay, do you remember the activity called this? And bring it back. Yeah, nice. Um, Another question for Hala is, and if you're not sure about the answer, let us know. Does this work for teaching things like idioms to more advanced students? Can AI help us understand idioms in the same way?
Yeah, I think idioms can be helpful in this way. I haven't tried it in that manner in terms
Uh-huh.
of metaphorical mapping, but it will
Uh-huh.
surely help if we just point out the target concept and the source concept. But I haven't
Uh-huh.
personally tried it. It's a very
Mhm.
thought-provoking thing that I should be trying
Mhm.
with with the metaphorical mapping charts, maybe how to
Mhm.
incorporate idioms into that. But I think you can do that, because in that we also need the shared qualities or the target concept and the source concept. So I will be
Yeah.
the one going to use this, or trying that
Yeah.
at least. That's a very
Yeah,
good one,
me
I think.
too. Yeah, thanks for the suggestion. It sounds good. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
actually a
when
great suggestion.
yeah, it's great. I think when teachers were sharing their metaphors in the
Yeah, it's
chat,
all
some of
about
them were
sharing. Yeah.
idioms and
Yes.
yeah, it was great. Um, all right. I think we've run out of time for questions now. But let's say a huge Enormous. Thank you to Hala and Dina for joining us from Vietnam and from Pakistan. We love having expert teachers here to tell us about what they do in their classrooms with their students. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
so much,
Thanks,
Melissa.
Hala.
Thank you, Dina.
So, if you are watching on Facebook, you can continue sending in comments on YouTube as well. So, thanks to all of our audiences today, the audience in Zoom as well. You've been fantastic. We've had lots and lots of comments from everyone. Let's say thank you to all the sessions today. This is our third and last session of creative lesson planning, but we'll be back next month with more, and you can watch the recordings for this event also on our webpage. So thank you to Joanna, who is working behind the scenes today, and Wiam, who's working moderating on Facebook and YouTube, of course, to all of our presenters. We want to let you know that we've got one last event created to creative lesson planning, and it's a question and answer session on Facebook and YouTube, and it's with our first two presenters today, Zeni and Claudia. It's on the 28th of November, that's a Friday, in 2 weeks, and they'll be there to answer any of your questions about how to plan creatively. So come along to that if this was your bag today. So one last thank you and goodbye to Hala and Dina. Have a lovely morning,
everyone.
afternoon, and evening. Bye, everyone.